Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be looking at some school trips that went horribly wrong.
Coming in at number 10 we have mountain. School trips can be really fun, but it always helps when your teacher isn't totally brainless. This wasn't the case for one class trip that took place in 2014 in the UK. A teacher took her class of 39 girls up a mountain for a trip.
Wait, a teacher actually took her students up a mountain? That's not a smart idea. How old are these kids? Are they literally tiny kids or are they like adults? Like, are they teenagers? Like, that's a bit of a weird school trip, isn't it? Imagine going up a mountain.
The mountain was one of the largest in England, which meant only people who were serious hikers should go up it. But despite the mountain being 2,500 feet up in the air, the teacher thought it would be fine for the girls to wander up there in skirts and sneakers.
Yeah, that's not going to be a good idea. Imagine climbing up a mountain with skirts and sneakers. That's actually the worst idea ever. Like, I used to climb mountains with my parents whenever I was younger. Well, I didn't climb them, but like I used to walk up them. You have to have special walking shoes on, because trust me, if you fall over and slip and you're up at the top of the mountain, you're going to get taken to a hospital in a helicopter.
They soon found this to be impossible and freezing cold, but that's not all. The teacher had also forgotten to take a map or compass with her. It soon got dark and they became lost and were stranded up in the mountain before finally calling 911.
Wait a minute, so you're telling me this teacher took a bunch of girls up a mountain without a map, also without a compass, and they basically got stuck there? That must be the worst teacher in the world, and that's one way to get fired.
A mountain rescue team soon found them wearing old garbage bags as they were so cold. Thankfully they were rescued, but it doesn't change the amount of danger this dumb teacher put those kids in. I'm not sure if she got fired or even sued by one of the kids' parents, but at the very least, she shouldn't be allowed near any mountains ever again.
I mean, that's very true. Usually if you're going on a school trip, your parents have to say okay. Like, I swear that was like a common rule. And also, did the school know that they were going up a mountain? This also happened in England, which is even worse. This seems like something that would happen in America.
Next up is Monkey Sanctuary. In 2016, 33 students and 6 teachers from North Cobb High School in Atlanta went on a school trip to Belize. Among those students was 14-year-old Tamari Elijah Jackson, who was a freshman at the school. They were visiting a monkey sanctuary for 5 days.
They're visiting a monkey sanctuary. Somebody's gonna get attacked by a monkey, aren't they? Whenever I heard the word monkey, I just knew someone's got their face ripped off. Like, someone's either jumped into the enclosure or they've got attacked by one. Monkeys are honestly so scary. Like, they look all nice and cuddly, but if they jump at you, they're gonna kill you.
On the first day, their first activity was to go into the Sabun River. They were to wade into the river and then after that go hiking. However, the hiking never took place because while the students were wading around the shallow water, Tamari was reported missing. They searched for a while all around the monkey base sanctuary when finally his body was found. However, his passing is said to be very mysterious.
Wait, so the kid died? The kid actually died? Why are they going through rivers? Especially when there's monkeys around. How is this school not been shut down? Like, this doesn't make any sense. A literal child died, like he lost his life. This isn't like a funny joke. Somebody's now gone.
He was a good swimmer and the water was very shallow. Nobody saw him wander off and his passing appeared to be a total mystery. In 2017, his family sued, saying the staff were aware of his disappearance for hours before doing anything about it. The school had been doing the trip for 4 years and nothing bad had ever happened before. The school now goes to Costa Rica instead since the incident.
So the school didn't get shut down. Did somebody get arrested and charged for his murder? This child was literally found dead under mysterious circumstances. That's kind of freaky. Like, what happened? Did like a classmate get him? Maybe a teacher had a grudge against him. Like, somebody there knows exactly what happened and they're not telling anyone, and that's freaky.
Next up is Morgue. Field trips are usually to fun, inspiring places to get kids excited about learning, or just a theme park to bribe the class to be quiet. However, back in 2010, a New York school thought it would be a great idea to visit the local morgue. For those who don't know, the morgue is where bodies are stored after the people have passed away.
Wait, so they literally took children to a graveyard? What is up with these schools? Why are they taking kids to graveyards? That's literally the worst thing you could ever do. Why would a child want to see a dead body that's literally going to be their parents or grandparents or them eventually? Like, we're all going to be dead one day. That's so scary. Think of it, 100 years from now, people are going to be looking back at photos from like our time, and 99.9% of the people now will be dead. Like, that's so freaky. There's going to be a completely new generation of people.
So the high school took a group of students to Staten Island Morgue. Now that's already creepy, but I guess it did give them a better understanding of science. They saw many odd and scary things, but the cherry on top of the cake was a brain in a jar. The kids were fascinated by it and asked the tour guide for more information about it. She said it was a brain floating in formaldehyde that they use to keep brains fresh so they can examine and experiment with them. However, one student turned the jar around and saw a name tag that sent a chill down their spine. The name on the jar was of a student that went to their high school before they were involved in a terrible car collision months earlier. Of course, the kids on the trip told the entire school and word quickly spread to the kids' parents. They were furious as they'd barely gotten over it happening in the first place. But what's more, they weren't even told nor had they given permission for the medical examiner to do this.
So the child's brain literally got stolen. Oh my gosh, that's awful. The parents think their child has literally been buried and his brain is in some random place. Why didn't they know that they literally nicked his brain? Like, surely this should be illegal. I could understand if he was older and like he signed a form saying his organs could be used to save somebody else. But it was literally a child, like they nicked his brain. And his parents didn't know as well. Ew, that's so creepy.
It really makes you wonder how many other people they secretly did this to as well. The parents sued the medical examiner for $1 million for doing this, and I have to say, rightly so.
Well, it now looks like the poor boy's parents are millionaires. But isn't that like so freaky? Like, oh, that kind of sends shivers on your spine. That also happens a lot to people who get cremated. If you don't know what cremation is, it's basically whenever a body gets burned up and turned into ashes and then you like let them ashes go. There's been quite a few times where a family's been given the wrong ashes and they don't know. Like, imagine your mum gets cremated and then you get a random set of ashes and you think it's your mum's ashes. It's actually kind of scary. Like, oh, imagine that.
Next up is Plantation. Back in the days of the slave trade was a terrible time in American history. However, it's important that we learn from our mistakes, which is why it's taught in schools. Most schools take care to explain delicately to young kids what took place.
Oh gosh, I hope what I'm thinking is gonna happen doesn't happen. I've got a feeling some random school is gonna take a school to somewhere and something bad's gonna happen. What is wrong with these American schools?
But one school was far from sensitive during a field trip back in 2013. The 4th grade class went to a plantation house turned museum in Georgia, USA. Everything was meant to be interactive and authentic, and even had actors who dressed as slaves or slave owners. The kids also did activities, including some rather cringeful ones such as cotton picking. But wait, it gets much worse.
I don't know how to feel about that. Like, that isn't a normal thing you do in a school trip. Like, I swear school trips are going to like a cool place to like learn about stuff. I think this is a bit too far.
The class was split into 2 groups, with the black children being sent to cotton pick while the white kids tried on old-timey clothing inside the house. I'm sure the Plantation Museum employees didn't mean to be offensive, but talk about an ill-advised activity. I'm guessing they were trying to recreate how the old times were, but they really didn't think it through.
Why would you want to recreate it? Why aren't the black kids allowed to be with the white kids and do the activity? They were literally turned into slaves. That's so bad. Honestly, guys, some of these schools just need to be shut down.
Suffice to say, the parents and some of the kids were not happy, and the school and Plantation quickly apologized. At least nobody passed away on this trip, but it must have been pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, it must have been very uncomfortable. How can you do that? The poor children, they're literally kids. They're babies. They're gonna remember that for the rest of their life. Like, imagine they have children and then they tell their children what happened in the school trip. That is one big disaster that shouldn't have happened.
Next up is Nudist Beach. In 2015, a group of Cub Scouts aged 9 and 10 were visiting a beach in San Diego. They were being chaperoned by parents and Cub Scout leaders. It was all normal until they saw one man getting undressed.
Why were they sent to a nude beach? These are children, they're literally 10. A 10-year-old is a baby, a 10-year-old is a child. 10-year-old kids play Fortnite. Honestly, if I ever have children, I'm never sending them on a school trip because I don't want something like this to happen.
They assumed he was crazy or something, but as they continued their hike, they realized they'd wandered onto a nudist beach. The parents and group leaders quickly tried to change the route they were taking to get the kids away from all the naked people. However, they took a wrong turn and got lost on the nudist beach.
How has this went from bad to worse? Did they not do a bit of research about the area that they're in before they go to it? At least they're actually trying to leave the area and the little children aren't taking their clothes off.
The parents were less than impressed when one of the leaders tried to reassure them by saying he goes through here all the time. Eventually they got out and had to face a pack of angry parents when it came time for the kids to be picked up. It just goes to show even something simple like a walk on the beach can turn into the worst field trip ever. Or maybe the best if those Boy Scouts were just a few years older. Afterwards, they even had to have a meeting with the group leaders, parents, and local officials in order to assess the situation. The Boy Scouts of America said proper protocol was followed during the incident. However, the parents disagreed. One parent even said she was nauseated by seeing all the naked people on the beach.
Oh my gosh, so much drama just went down. Let me sit back for a second and actually think about what we were just told. Oh my gosh, the poor kids. I'm just thinking about the little kids. Like, the kids probably enjoyed it. Like, it's kids, let's be realistic. Little boys love to see naked people. Usually girls, not men. But like, that's awful. How did that happen?
Next up is water park. So some of these trips sound a little boring and educational, like going to an old plantation or a morgue. However, going to a water park during school time sounds fun and is perhaps every kid's dream.
It's not going to be every kid's dream whenever they literally fall off the water slide. I just knew something bad's going to happen. Trust me, water parks are scary. I don't go to them. It's the same with roller coaster places. If you go on a water slide or a roller coaster, you're literally asking to die. You're literally signing your death certificate. It's just so scary. You could literally fall off it at any time.
However, in 2015, a class of kids from the UK went to Barcelona, Spain and visited a water park. The teachers told them all to use sunscreen as the temperatures were near 40 degrees. The teachers offered them factor 50 cream, however the kids, being kids, didn't want this. Thanks to this, 4 kids were sunburnt so badly they had to go to hospital. 15-year-old Connor Pritchard had to spend weeks in hospital since the trip.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's not the school's fault, it's his fault. He was basically told to put on sun cream or he would burn, and then he got really burnt. I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really have much sympathy for him. Like, if you're going to a hot place, you know to put sun cream on. I knew to put sun cream on whenever I was like 13, he's like 15. Zero sympathy for me.
However, believe it or not, the parents were mad at the teachers about this. The teachers said they told the kids to apply sunscreen, but of course couldn't do it themselves.
Exactly, like they can't really go up to the kids and rub it on them. I went on skiing trips multiple times and I was told to put sun cream on my face. I think there was one time where I didn't put enough on and I was burnt. You'd be surprised, it could literally be cloudy but you'll still get burnt skiing. Sun cream is so important, like if it's warm you need to wear it. Over summer I didn't put any on my nose and my nose was really red, like it literally was completely burnt.
If your kid burns themselves at a water park, that's not the teacher's fault, especially if these kids were old enough to make their own choices. But now the school says they might ban all future school trips if the children can't follow the rules.
Oh my gosh, that's so awful. Just because 4 stupid kids couldn't put on sun cream, they're literally gonna ban all future ski trips. If I was in their school, I'd be furious at the kids. Imagine being so brain dead that you couldn't put on sun cream, like really?
Next up is beach. One day in 2015, a Texas school went on a field trip to a beach. Now that sounds nice enough, however, as kids sometimes do on beaches, one went missing. It was a 12-year-old girl named Samira Carlo. Despite being at the beach with 19 classmates and 2 teachers, she went missing while swimming.
I really hope she's fine, like I really hope she doesn't like disappear forever. Honestly, you guys, there's no point going on ski trips anymore because something bad like this will happen. The girl's gonna go missing, like I think this is the 3rd time a kid's went missing or something like that. I don't know, there's just loads of bad things that happen in beaches.
She was fairly far out to sea, standing on a sandbank with a teacher and several other female students. Some of the other kids began to get scared by the waves and being fairly far out in the sea, so one teacher brought them back to the shore. However, when they were back at the shore, they turned around and didn't see Samira. Rescue teams, the police and coast guards searched for 4 hours before her body was finally found. Her mom was spotted at the beach devastated, as anyone would be. The next day, the students wore blue into class, which was Samira's favorite color, and many students also wore bows to commemorate her.
Oh no, she died. That's so sad. Like the sea is honestly such a scary place. I remember whenever I was younger, I used to go surfing and like I would literally go in on my own, but I wasn't allowed out super far. Like whenever you're actually in the sea, you don't realize how far you're going out, and then whenever you're out too far, it's too late. The sea is such a scary place. Like apparently 97% of it hasn't been discovered. What is in the sea? Like that's scary.
This is one of the saddest and worst field trips ever. Not to mention, the teachers really should have kept track of what all of their students were doing if they were going to take them so far out to sea.
Also, what were the kids doing out at sea? Like, were they surfing, were they canoeing, or were they just like swimming? That's honestly so tragic. Like, I couldn't imagine that happening to somebody. I just feel bad for her poor mother.
Next up is movies. Watching a movie doesn't sound like a bad school trip, right? I mean, the movie theater is overpriced and sticky, but it's not all that bad. Well, once you hear about this field trip in context, your mind will change.
I hope somebody doesn't choke on popcorn. Like, I feel like another kid's gonna die. Why are so many children getting injured in this video? Well, I mean, to be honest, it is called School Trips Gone Horribly Wrong, so that makes a lot of sense.
One day, the Dallas Independent School District transported 5,000 boys from various schools in the Dallas area to a movie theater to see Red Tails.
5,000 boys? What type of cinema are they in? Are they literally in a stadium? They're literally in a full-on stadium. 5,000 boys in a cinema? Yeah, that's not a cinema, sweetheart.
Red Tails is an inspiring movie about black men overcoming barriers in the military due to their race. But what about the girls, you might be asking? Well, they had to stay in school and watch Akila and the Bee, which is all about a black girl competing in a spelling bee. The school board meant was they were just trying to empower black students and teach them some black history. However, the segregation of boys and girls made parents pretty mad. Women in the military also got mad too, and don't even get me started on black women in the military.
Honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Like, why couldn't the girls go? That's just straight up sexism.
The district defended themselves, saying the movie theater couldn't hold all the students. However, there was just too many holes in that excuse.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you only take some of the kids? If all of the kids can't go, then don't take a single one. I just don't understand it. Like, that's such a bad excuse. Don't lie, just be honest.
Next up is pregnant. This one took place at a high school in Florida. One group of students went to a rural town and bunked together in a hotel for the duration of a field trip. The trip was 5 days long, so not that much could happen in that time, right? Well, that's where you would be wrong. When the students returned, it was discovered that 4 of the female students were pregnant.
They were all pregnant. I wonder if it was from the same man. Oh gosh, that's not good. Like, the teachers are gonna have a lot of explaining to do. Whenever I was in primary school, boys and girls were not allowed in the same room. Like, we literally had a full-on section for boys and a full-on section for girls. Like, we couldn't even get down to the girl area. And it's probably because something like this could have happened.
There were around 20 boys and 30 girls on the trip, and they'd all stayed in the same hotel. The parents were livid, and they said the teachers didn't do enough to prevent this happening. And they were extra mad, seeing as the students were only 17 years old. At least the students had fun on the field trip, even if they will have to put up with a screaming kid for 6 years.
I mean, yeah, that is true. But to be honest, they are 17. Like, whenever you get to 17, you can't really complain that much, can you? Like, a 17-year-old knows that if you don't wear protection, you're probably gonna have a child.
And to top it all off, they're even too old to appear on 16 and Pregnant and make some money out of the situation.
I guess that is true, but moral of the story, wear protection or you will literally have a baby.
Next up is Disneyland. Do you think you have mean teachers? Well, I bet they're nothing compared to the teachers at this school. As a reward for their students graduating, teachers at Rosedale Public School told their 8th graders they'd be going on a Disneyland school trip. Brochures were printed and a long presentation was given to the kids.
I feel like the school's lied to them, or the school doesn't know how expensive it is to get into Disney. If you ever go to Disneyland, just know that it costs a lot of money to get in there. I swear a VIP ticket can be literally $1,400 each, and then the food inside is so expensive. So I know for a fact I'll not be going to Disneyland anytime soon.
They even made the kids do roommate arrangements and created a schedule for the Disneyland trip. The kids were obviously very excited, as what could be better than a trip to Disneyland with all your friends? However, it wasn't long until the teachers broke some bad news to them. They admitted it was all one big prank. You see, the teachers had lied about going to Disneyland, and really they were going to the local bowling alley.
Oh my gosh, that is so awful. Them teachers are horrible. Like, they literally are the worst teachers ever. Imagine telling kids that they're literally going to Disneyland and hyping them up, and then you tell them they're going down to the local bowling place. I haven't even been bowling in years. Like, it's fun, but like, imagine thinking you're going to Disneyland but you go bowling instead.
The teachers got a cheap laugh, but the kids were furious, and the prank was even caught on camera.
Honestly, guys, moral of the story, don't listen to anything teachers tell you and don't go on any school trips. Anyways, guys, that is the end of the video. That was some school trips that went horribly wrong. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the subscribe button, and yes, I will see you all in my next video.